This is probably the one piece of backpacking electronics that I recommend every wilderness traveler takes with them, and that's a Garmin inReach. Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan Jordan. I'm Backpacking Lights owner and publisher, and the instructor for this Garmin inReach Masterclass, which focuses on how to use the Garmin inReach for messaging, tracking, and navigation. I want to give you an introduction to the course and let you know what to expect as we dive in. So this short presentation will give you an idea of the course objectives, the philosophy, the format of the content, and then the overall goal that I want you to walk away with. The course addresses 5 key objectives. The first one is providing an overview and description of how the Garmin ecosystem works. It's this assembly of hardware infrastructure such as satellites and ground stations, of devices like the inReach devices itself and your smartphone. And then you've got these software applications that reside on your desktop computer, in the web, and on your smartphone. And then there's all these connectors between all of them. So it's important to understand what all of these components do and how they relate to each other. And we'll be going into great detail about that in this course. The second objective is to look at the different sync options are available and identify what data syncs with what method of syncing. Again, we've got desktop applications, smartphone applications, and the inReach devices, and then web apps, and there's all these different sync connections between them all. So we'll understand exactly what data goes in what direction and when and why you use one sync method over another. We'll take a look at the benefits and limitations of inReach technology generally, as well as look at the nuances between the different inReach devices on the market so you understand what the capabilities of each one of those devices are, and primarily what their limitations are. Through a comprehensive case study, I'm going to talk about how I personally use the inReach. So I'll share my complete process with you for setup, syncing, route planning, navigation, tracking, messaging, and then coming back home and what I do with the data when I'm done with the trip. And finally, I want to help you troubleshoot the likely issues you are going to experience with an inReach. And there are issues. So I'm not going to sit here and say this is the perfect device for everybody and it works perfectly all the time. That's not realistic. So we're going to dive into the main issues that affect the majority of users, as well as some more obscure issues that could cause serious problems on a trek. And I want to help you resolve those problems beforehand and troubleshoot what's going on during your expedition so that you can get the most out of your inReach device and stay safe. Now let me share with you a little bit of my philosophy for this course. First, this is not a pre-sales or marketing webinar. Garmin does an excellent job at doing this. I highly recommend you visit their webinars. They are available at support.garmin.com, and they provide an excellent overview, not only if you're in the market for an inReach device, but if you're looking for a comparison of these devices' capabilities. So I'm going to talk about capabilities of the 3 primary Garmin inReach devices that are on the market today. That includes the inReach Mini, the inReach Explorer Plus, and the GPS Map 66i, but I'm not going to dive into every single capability of every device. That's not the point of this course. The real goal here is to give you an overview and dive into the detail of the processes to get the most out of your inReach with a specific focus on wilderness travel. So backpackers, hikers, bikepackers, packrafters, mountaineers, adventure cyclists. However, here's a caveat. This course does not address aviation or marine inReach devices or processes. So this course is for you if you stay on the ground. Let me talk a little bit about the course format. Yes, there are some PowerPoint slides in it, but that's not the focus of what I'm doing here. And there will be lots of other type of content besides PowerPoint. There will be lots of video in this course. They will focus on both field and in-office demonstrations of the processes I'm using, as well as demonstrations of what I'm actually doing on the devices and on the apps. A big part of this course is a case study where we all take a trip together and I show you exactly what I do from the time I'm in my office getting ready to leave on the trip, to going to the trailhead, to starting my hike and taking my hike and arriving in camp and spending the night, and then heading back home on the trail, back to the car, and then what I do when I get back home. I'm going to talk about setup, syncing, navigation, tracking, messaging, troubleshooting, battery management, firmware updates, optimizing inReach to inReach communications, how I set up preset and quick messages for when I'm using an inReach Mini without a phone, how to save money on service plans, the real difference between basic and premium weather forecasts and whether or not you can actually rely on them, differences between the inReach, the Spot, the Zaleo, the Bivy Stick. How do I know my message has reached the intended recipient? Can I really rely on that? How to integrate the inReach with other devices like the Garmin Fenix watch, and why you should or shouldn't. Which inReach model has the best reception? Is that reception better than any other device on the market? Why? How does the inReach altimeter work? How do I know a satellite is in my field of view? That's just a sampling of the questions and issues I'm going to address in this course. Now, the course is going to focus on my personal favorite device, which is the inReach Mini. And the reason it's my personal favorite device is because it's 3.5 ounces and it's tiny. Look at how small this thing is. It is the ideal device for the backpacking light crowd. However, the course is certainly applicable to anybody who has an inReach device, including an older model SE or Explorer. Now, the models that are currently on the market designed for hikers and backpackers are going to be the inReach Mini, the inReach Explorer Plus, and the GPS Map 66i. So the people who own those devices are going to get the most out of this course. But if you have an older device, this all still applies. And they have preserved the functionality of the older devices, even if you have the old DeLorme brick device that you could only use from a phone. Okay, with that introduction, I hope that you do one of two things, maybe both in this course. The first is that you can just take the processes I give you. In addition to all the course material, you're going to have access to checklists that you can download that basically tells you exactly what to do when it comes to setup, syncing, getting ready for a trip, going on a trip, and getting back from a trip. Check, 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 check. I want to do whatever I can to take what I've learned with the inReach over the past several years and make it as easy as possible for you to dive into this ecosystem and get the most out of it and stay safe. Or, and this is what I really hope you'll do, is you'll take my processes, you'll be inspired by them, and you'll create your own that's adaptable to your style of wilderness travel. Okay, let's go through a few housekeeping notes. This course is being launched as a live stream. If you enroll prior to the launch of the live stream, you can watch the live stream, participate in the live Q&A that's going to happen during that session. But you'll also have access to the entire recorded version of the course. Now, for those of you who are enrolling after the live stream date, or are otherwise wanting access to just the recorded version, it will be available in two formats. You'll be able to watch the entire thing all the way through as it was live streamed, but you'll also have access to each individual video. And that way you can jump around and watch the ones that are relevant to whatever topic you happen to be studying at a particular time. And it'll be much easier to navigate than the entire course. For every participant who enrolls, you're going to receive a series of emails called addendums. And those addendums will contain additional materials. This includes checklists, downloadable resources, printable resources, and other things that are designed to supplement the video content of the course. Finally, if you are a Backpacking Light Unlimited member, you have access to this course for free as part of your unlimited membership. You can learn more about unlimited membership by visiting backpackinglight.com/subscribe. If you're not an unlimited member, you can enroll in this course by visiting backpackinglight.com/inReach. Your enrollment fee gives you access to all of this content forever. There's no expiration date. There's no subscription fee. It's a one-time deal. Thank you for joining me on this course. I hope it proves valuable for you.